how to get Autodesk Stitcher Unlimited 2009 working again if you've made the upgrade to Mac OS Lion. There's a couple of bugs out there with Stitcher Unlimited, so we have to remove the product basically from your Mac. And I like to use a little program here called Clean My Mac, and it's a very cool utility. You can try it for free for a couple of weeks, but it's worth paying for. Alright, so to use it, we're going to click on Uninstall Applications, and you can see here in the center it says to drag apps here, so that seems pretty straightforward. So let's do that. So let's go to your Macintosh hard drive and find your Stitcher application, not the folder. You want to look inside the folder, and then you're going to drag the app where it says drag apps here into your Clean My Mac application. And once that's done, you can get rid of this little box and slide it over. And you want to click the uninstall button, which is down here on the bottom right hand side. Now remember, this is in a program called Clean My Mac, and it's an application you have to purchase. So it's one of those nice little ways of keeping your hard drives and applications nice and clean. Alright, when we click the uninstall button, it's probably going to give you a couple of warnings, and this is one of two warnings you're going to get, so I want to click the uninstall button. I might get one more, and this one says multiple application package. For Autodesk Stitcher in the Mac, it's okay. Go ahead and click the remove button over here, and when you do that, the product will be totally removed from your Mac. Now, it's not going to remove your serial number, which is good, from your system folder, but it also might leave the shell on your program. So we have a folder here called Autodesk. So let's go ahead and drag the Autodesk folder over here to your Macintosh hard drive trash can. So this goes to Oscar the Grouch, the trash can. I love it because it's trash. Okay, let's see. So we now basically need to quit the product after you've done the empty trash. So we can now go ahead and install Stitcher on top of your same Mac. So once you've done the Clean My Mac, you can double click on the package, and when you open up that little package, you'll see the Stitcher Unlimited over here on the icon. So just simply double click that, and let's go ahead and install it again onto your Mac, and just click the continue button. And you'll notice that it's probably not going to ask you for a serial number or anything else. Now this is only for users who have already got the product registered. If you're using the trial version, then of course you'll have to go ahead and put the serial number and the activation key into it again. But this video tutorial is for those people who are reinstalling Stitcher after you've made the upgrade, of course, to Mac OS Lion. And my Mac, of course, needs my super duper password for the admin. And in just a minute or two here, it installs successfully. So we can hit the close button now, and we can get rid of that. Now we can test Autodesk Stitcher, which is probably a pretty good idea. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to mosey on over here to Applications, and you'll see that Autodesk Stitcher folder is back, and we have Autodesk Stitcher Unlimited 2009, and you'll see from today's date it is the fresh install. That's important. Alright, so let's double click that, double click this, and you should see Autodesk Stitcher fire right up. So let's double check to make sure it's not going to take 15,000 million years to render a pano. So when we drag 4 images in there, don't forget about always saying no. Whenever Stitcher launches, if you're not in the advanced mode, do the no. It's always nice to be able to do this, because this way we can hit no, and you want to just double check the basics, which is basically the camera lens type. Let's make sure that you are on fisheye circular if you're shooting with a crop DX sensor camera. If you're shooting with a full frame camera like a D300, then basically you choose that one. But since I'm shooting this with a Nikon D7000, I'm going to choose fisheye circular, and then I'm going to click on calibrate fisheye lens. Now remember, this is the best way to get these things to automatically stitch. You just got to pull that red line in a little bit on the right and a little bit on the left, just a pixel or two. Okay, that's all you have to do here. And I don't care so much about the X and the plus symbol. Don't worry so much about that in the center. Just worry about pulling in the red line just a little bit on the right and on the left side a little bit, just like that. That's pretty much it. Punch the OK button. And of course, for you Mac people, don't forget, remember, we just closed that little red dot. And for those of you on Windows machines, over here, we have that nice little orange box and the white X. But since this is a Macintosh tutorial, we're not going to talk much about the Windows side of things. We're just going to keep it focused on Mac. So let's close that. And basically the next step is we're going to go ahead and do the automatic stitch, which is the second button over here. And when you click on that, that's going to automatically try to put all 4 images together in a single panorama. And then these icons over here on the bottom will start to light up after we've done that next step. So let's go ahead and click on our button here, and let's go ahead and watch the Stitcher go through and try to put together all 4 images into one giant pano. And it's always a good idea to keep Photoshop and other programs down to a minimum when you're doing the stitching so it goes faster. Alright, if you hold your Option key down, you can turn the tool around, look down, you can look up, la la la. Okay, so you can also click the Saturn tool over here to kind of get it aligned. It's kind of like the wings of an airplane. So when you click on that, you know, your image looks nice and balanced. And if you hold your Apple key down and it's a left click on the mouse, you can zoom in or zoom out a little bit. Back to my Option key. I'm going to start my tour right about here. That looks pretty good. And over here is the live preview. We got a couple of questions on this one. Say my preview somehow turned off. And it's a good idea to kind of keep it turned on, and you can make it any size you want. Over here is just a little general information tab that kind of talks to you about the angle of your panorama and the distortion, 1, 2, 3. Basically a lot of high-tech information that's not necessarily important for beginners. But under Display, Live Preview, if I turn that off, boink, it's gone. If I go back to Filters, Live Preview, Display, there we are. And ta-da, there's my little box. So it kind of shows what my virtual tour looks like when it's unwrapped. So that little black you see there at the bottom, of course, is the tripod. So looks like we're all done here and we're ready to move on to the rendering stage. So this last icon here on the left in this toolbar is what you want to click. And up here we have a couple more options you can click on. Rendering options is kind of important because you want to choose Lancos 5, where the interpolation button is. We have no idea what it means, but it does mean it's a very accurate and very high resolution render. So if you're using Stitcher, you want to choose Lancos 5. JPEG options, this just kind of makes the JPEG a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. Default is 85. You can experiment with some settings on your own. I personally like 65 or 75 for the JPEG options. So back to File. I don't like Untitled. I want to choose a regular, plain English name that's going to have something probably to do with a living room. So I'm going to save that to my desktop, and let's call this Living Room 360. It's a good idea to add 360 to your finished virtual tours so you know it's 360 stitched panorama. Last but not least is consistency in your virtual tours. This is very important. You want to keep your width at 6,000 pixels and your height at 3,000. And one of the nice things about the Mac mouse is, whoops, as you drag your finger on some things, it kind of messed up here. So let's drag through that again carefully. There we are, 6,000 by 3,000 pixels. And now we can punch the render button. So normally on Lion, it's going to freeze right around 75%. The reason for reinstalling Stitcher is that, as you can see, ta-da, it'll go through the rendering process now pretty quickly. Now I sliced 1 minute out of this video here, so mine went super fast. So your Macintosh won't work this fast. So make sure you're aware of that. But that is a nice thing that you can do with Stitcher is once you reinstall it on top of Lion, you will see a little bit of a speed increase. Not by much, but you will see a speed increase once you do the reinstall with Mac OS Lion. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and just quit this program. As you can see, I'm playing with my mouse again here. But we're all finished here. So we can go under Stitcher, we can hit quit, and once again, if it asks you to save changes, we always hit no. Always say no. Alright, so let's go find that little Living Room 360. And let's double click that and make sure that it looks good. So I'm going to open that up. And there's my 360 pano. So, alright, that's how we fix the Lion OS problem with Autodesk Stitcher.